Hello and welcome back to part 2 of my theory discussion with Geek Rambles. Today we discuss some of the more elaborate theories that some of you guys suggested. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, I'd be ever so grateful. We're trying to get to 12,300 subscribers as soon as possible. We're about 60-ish subscribers to go at the time I'm recording this, so do me a favour, hit subscribe if you haven't already, that'd be greatly appreciated. Also, go follow me on Twitter if you don't, as that's how you partake in these videos. But without further ado, here are our theories for the Centenary special. Oh, this is an interesting one. We get a recast Romana back. That's an interesting one. You know what? Not many people mention Romana when it comes to Time Lord characters that return. Most people are like, Durrani! But Romana, would kind of make sense if you were going to bring back a classic companion. Would it necessarily need to be a recast? Is Lala Ward still around?
No, she I know she is. Funnily enough, I don't know why I was doing this, but I don't know why I was doing it, but she showed up anyway. And she still, I mean, obviously she's aged, but she still looks great. She could still play the part. And I mean, although she's retired, I'm sure she wouldn't say no. Yeah. And they have the rights to Romana, and they don't have them to the Rani, so we can forget the...
Wait, they don't have the rights to the Rani, do they? I knew they do. I know they don't to Omega, and there's someone else, but I didn't know the Rani was off limits. That would explain.
Yeah, no, it is. I only found that out a few months ago, but yeah, that's unless they bought it back. I mean, the BBC has got enough cash. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, they don't have the rights to the Rani.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, to be fair, the idea of her coming back has always been like, really, her? Like, why? It's like she's fine, but it's like she's just the master again. Slightly different. Yeah. It's like
no, she is, and I understand why people like her. I do. I can't say that I don't, but yeah, it would be just one of the same. So yeah, I can agree with that, and I think that's one for the more mature audience that love the Rani.
But yeah, like Romana though, like if we have scenes in Gallifrey, which is looking like we will, because when you see the shots of the Daleks, they're in that like weird orangey looking cave, and I kind of immediately associate orange rocks with just Gallifrey stuff.
Yeah.
And it would make sense for the Doctor's final story. We also have the Master in it, so there's very clearly some Time Lord shenanigans going on, probably Ruth as well. So in terms of, I love how your eyes lit up when Ruth was mentioned, because we're going to get onto that. But yeah, Romana's one of those ones. Yeah, makes sense. We haven't had a 70s like representative yet, because obviously Ace and Tegan both 80s companions. So I hadn't thought about Romana, but she does make sense. She
does make sense. This is going to come up in your Twitter thread. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
However, you mentioned we've not had a 70s representative.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of argument, right? Okay, we're going to get some classic people back.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that, because sorry, my posters are over there, always referencing them. Does that mean that we could get a representative for every era? Or I'm not saying that's a good idea.
Yeah. No, you're not the first person I've seen suggest it. Like
no,
maybe not as an insult to you, but I've just
not at all. No.
Yeah, like how dare you bring this unoriginal thought? No, I was just basically saying that like I've seen some people suggest, could we get an RTD era representative? Could we get a Moffat era representative? And that sort of thing. And it's difficult again, because on the one hand, part of me wants to go, yes, let's see them again. Another part of me wants to go, there's already too much in this story, and he's already balancing too much. And Russell's coming back literally an episode from now. So in the case of modern Who characters, I'd probably rather they just wait one episode. So it's
Funnily enough, that's not what I was getting at this time. And usually you're really good at knowing what I'm thinking. But I was more referring to people like Susan, like Nyssa. And the reason
Nyssa
why
makes sense, because
Nyssa, I think Nyssa would be lovely.
Yeah.
I know that we've already got a Davison companion.
Yeah, but you can't really have Tegan without Nyssa though, really. Especially with the added like context I think Russell added a while back that they were a couple. So you kind of do have to...
I wasn't aware. Where did that come from? I didn't know that.
I believe it's in one of... I think it was in one of the lockdown things. I could be completely wrong, but he basically made it a thing. I think it was Farewell Sarah Jane, you know, when they did that.
Oh, yes.
And
yes, sorry, I'm lying completely.
All of the companions at the funeral, and I think they mentioned Nyssa and Tegan as a couple. I don't know whether they'll address that in the show. It'd be cool if they did.
It would be cool.
As a result, it would be weird to have Tegan and not Nyssa, and as well because they were so close in the 80s. So yeah. This is another one where it's like makes sense to be there, but Susan's a really interesting one because
I'd love it. I have. It's boggled my brain for however long. I think probably since Capaldi had her on his desk, the photo of her, sorry, not literally. And
just
it
sat
made me
there.
well, that's some sort of fan fiction thing we won't even go into. I've just realised how that sounded. Cut that. But honestly, it just to have her would be great, especially if you are going to have David Bradley back. It would just make sense. I mean, I know that she's in the 22nd century, as far as I know.
But it's Doctor Who, isn't it? Time travel.
It's Doctor Who. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, especially in the last episode, it's like, I mean, we've already got Ashad back, and we don't know how the hell that's happened. So,
yeah, I know, and I hope again that's like you said before, that's like not going to be a cheap thing.
Yeah.
Because I really like him.
Yeah.
He's very, very different. We've never come across anything like him before, so that would be great. But yeah, you're right. There's far too much going on, and I am being very I want so and so back and so and so back. But actually, I'll probably end up hating it because there'd be so much going on.
So this is a really odd one, and I don't know what the context for this is. So It says the 13th Doctor will regenerate into the 15th Doctor, not the 14th Doctor. There's no other context to that. My only guess is that it ties into the whole Tennant being 14 thing, or like Tennant being an in-between weird incarnation. So that way it would technically be the 15th Doctor, but like you could number it as, I don't know. That's the only way I could see the 15th Doctor being a thing. But yeah, I don't really know what that is implying.
I would love to know myself, but I want it on record, if I may, that I absolutely do not want Tennant to come back as another incarnation. Do not do it. I know that in the 50th, it was very heavily implied that this could happen. But I've never actually made it a secret that I'm not even that much of a fan of Tennant as a lot of people are. I know that it's obviously not just up to me. I just think that would be so on the nose. We'll be here forever, so I'll cut it short. It would be way too on the nose. I don't want him to be the 14th incarnation. I don't even think really Tennant would want to be the 14th incarnation. But if we're going to just stick to that theory, sorry, because I was about to lose my hair.
That's all right.
I don't know how we as viewers would know that that's the 15th incarnation, and I don't know how you make that explicitly so.
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, I wish there was more context to it, but
the numbering at this point is all kind of arbitrary anyway. It's like,
does it matter? I know.
we have obviously the War Doctor was slide in, which kind of messed it all up to begin with. Then you've got the Time Child, the Roof Doctor. At a certain point, you just have to go, the numbers are just there for branding more than anything else. Like, they're always going to refer to whoever the next Doctor is as the 14th one. They're never going to go 13, 15. On the posters, that would just look so weird, and people would be annoyed.
Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine? I know.
It's like when iPhone, remember they did the iPhone 8, and then they skipped to 10? Because it was their anniversary. That would be the vibe. That would be the vibe of them doing that. You mentioned earlier, though, about not wanting Tennant to come back as the next incarnation. Would you be okay with him coming back for a couple of specials for the 60th? I know this is off topic, but I doubt that it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely, yes. This is nothing to do with my thoughts on Tennant as a Doctor. Like I said, I'm not as big of a fan as a lot of people are. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy his run. I really do. Yeah, as I want him to come back as the 10th Doctor. I just don't want to see a previous Doctor in another incarnation. But bring him back for his specials, bring him back for a multi-Doctor story all day long, and I would be I'll lap it up.
That's fair. I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't want him being the next incarnation above anything else, because that would feel really desperate, I think. If it was like,
it would.
It's him again as the next one. Like, it would feel a lot more authentic to me if he was just playing his incarnation.
It would be clutching at straws in the most ridiculous way, and I wouldn't want that. But I will want him back as that. But I really, really like his tenure, and I would be so happy if we could even get a little bit of Eccleston in there. But I know that can't happen, so I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, that's fair. So someone says, not really a wild theory, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get an open-ended regeneration. I can see Jodie regenerating with no hope left, only to cut to black mid-change. Then, as per the leaks, we cut to a Marvel-style credit scene setting up the 60th. Listen, the open-ended regeneration thing, I kind of love it and hate it in equal measure. It's the sort of thing where it's like, I get why people want it, but for people like me, it's like, I just want to know who the 14th Doctor is. If they did that and we still didn't know by October, I'd just be like, oh, it would just feel, I think it would also just feel really anticlimactic, because the whole point of a regeneration story, let's be honest, is the regeneration. Like, that's the bit that everyone's waiting for, really. Like, obviously, and no matter how much you enjoy an era, I'm always like this. I'm always like, oh, I want to see the new person. Even if I love the Doctor, it's like, I want to see that new face. And if you don't see that at the end of a regeneration story, to me, I would just feel like a massive anticlimax. I'd just be like, oh. I mean, to be fair, it would be kind of counteracted by if they did the 60th teaser at the end, which maybe sets up Tennant and a couple others returning. Maybe that would be like, okay, fine, you're doing that first. I kind of get it. But then also, if they don't do that and it is just cut to black, see you soon, I'd be like, I would be annoyed. I'm not going to lie. I would be a bit cheesed off and feel scammed out of seeing the 14th Doctor. But yeah.
There is a lot to unpick on this one. There really, really is. And I agree with some of your points, and I myself am very, very conflicted. When I first heard it was going to be an open regeneration, or a rumour circulated, because I'm not 100% sure how much weight it holds, I was all for it. But then I realised actually that I wasn't. And I know, and in my head, because I'm going to go actually to Capaldi's regeneration for a second, because it will make sense with what I'm about to say. With Capaldi, what I wanted was for him to regenerate in the TARDIS, as they usually do. Kind of changed my mind on that one now. But anyway, I wanted him to regenerate in the TARDIS, fall out as Capaldi, and then when we cut back, it's Whittaker's Doctor fall into Earth. That's what I wanted.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that's what I really, really wanted. And it's a similar thing to what I want now. However, with the 60th and the with that coming, the one thing I want to avoid, I mean, obviously we don't know who the 14th Doctor is. I have said that I'm going to try and keep away from social media at the time it's revealed, because I want my reaction to be as authentic as humanly possible. I know it's not going to happen. I know I'm setting myself up for a fail. The one thing that I want to avoid, because this will most likely happen, if 13 regenerates into the Doctor pre-60th anniversary, it means that we're going to have very strong popular Doctors coming back who give great performances, as we already know, that are going to overshadow this new Doctor. And I feel like that just wouldn't be fair. But I don't know why I want this to happen, but I feel like it can't. Does that make sense? Probably not.
It's interesting, because there is a way of sort of having your cake and eating it too with this. If you have it so that the 60th is returning Doctors, and you have a couple of specials with the old Doctors, not as a substitute or not as a way to overshadow the new Doctor, but kind of as a way of getting the show back into the public consciousness, and then launching a 14th Doctor separately from that. Let's say there's hypothetically, three 60th anniversary specials. Maybe you get probably Tennant leading the most of them. Maybe you get maybe like occasional Smith, hopefully Capaldi cameo, that sort of thing. And then the story wraps up, they fix time or whatever. Then you cut back to the end of 13's regeneration. So it's kind of like maybe they're trying to fix, you know how in the Five Doctors, Tom Baker goes sort of, oh no, we can't get to him because Tom Baker didn't want to come back.
We believe the attempt to lift him from his time stream was unsuccessful. There he must stay until we can find and free his other selves.
Basically that for 13's regeneration. So for some reason, timeline goes a bit awry. Doctors have to fix it in order to preserve their future. And then the last basically scene of the 60th celebrations is seeing the 14th Doctor. So you essentially use the old guard, if you like, to usher in a new generation. I think that could work.
That could work, yeah.
I think
when you were talking, it was kind of piecing together in my head. That was my main worry, though, was that we were going to have an open-ended regeneration which would work in some way. But at the same time, I feel like if Jodie's Doctor's going to go and she's had a poor era for any reason that you perceive, it would be so unfair for her to be the only one, began to a certain extent, I know that was rectified, to not have a regeneration properly.
Yeah. I mean, True, but if they split it across like 2 periods, you would still have a full one. It would just
Oh yeah,
be.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I just mean
I
in
do
terms
get
of,
what you mean though. Yeah, like having
yeah.
the full having. I still think having the centenary cut off would be a bit like what? Like I might like it in retrospect, but I can feel myself being like, oh come on, kind of thing. Do you know when it's like when they announce the Doctor Who will return in 2021, and it's like when they skip like 2 years, it's like come on. I don't
I
want
know.
that. Yeah, I'm very mixed on the open-ended thing. I like it, but I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am too. But part of me, yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. Part of me likes the idea because it's not been done as explicitly as this would be.
yeah,
But I feel like we deserve at the least to have a full one in
yeah,
some sort of way. Whether we go with your idea, which I think is fantastic to split it across, or whether we do it in one. I know which one I
yeah,
prefer, and it's
yeah.
definitely splitting it across. This one is from Doctor Who Stan, and this one says, I think the fugitive Doctor will turn out to be the 14th Doctor. The division will be an agency designed to stop the Master from destroying Gallifrey, and the Doctor must go back in her timeline to stop the Master destroying Gallifrey, and the mind wipe is what makes 14 regenerate. That actually would make sense to me. That's a theory that would make sense, because it would bring in, because why on earth did the Master destroy Gallifrey, for starters? So
Yeah.
it would sort of bring in little ties for me that I would really, really enjoy to see. The mind wipe being what causes 13 to regenerate makes sense because of the end shot we got from the trailer or teaser or whatever you can call it. Because of that scream and because of the glow that's around her, I can only assume that is the fob watch and not a regeneration, which is probably something we're going to get onto at some point. But that would cause a regeneration makes sense to me.
Yeah. So Joe would be 14, but then they'd regenerate again. Was that what the
that's the part I don't that doesn't make sense to me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because why? I mean, I suppose it would give the Ruth Doctor a regeneration, but I don't think she needs one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the fact that Jo Martin said herself that it's going to be very hard to get rid of things. She's obviously going to be in this.
I think she's going to be in it. I do not
Yeah.
think she's going to have a massive role, or at least
I don't.
amount of a role. You think she will?
No,
Oh, no,
not at all.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't tell whether you said will or won't.
No, it's fine. No, I don't think she'll have a massive amount to do. But that's why I kind of like this theory, because I feel like she should have more. That there should be a purpose to Jo Martin. The fact that this is the first Doctor that is a person of colour bothers. It's just a plot point bothers me.
Yeah,
and
no,
I feel
agree.
like and feel like there should be so much more to this incarnation, whatever she may turn out to be. So for me, I would just like to see that Ruth does get to do something.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely with that. The Master is dying, so he drains the Doctor's regeneration energy to save himself, very much like Davros in Series 9. I honestly think, yeah, it makes sense, especially since it's established at this point that the Doctor has a lot of it because of the Timeless Child stuff. Does kind of make sense for him to do the whole Steely regeneration. It's a plan he's done before. Think back to the TV movie. That's basically his whole plan. It's like,
yeah, that's his whole premise, yeah.
I can hear your thoughts, Doctor. I can feel your memories.
I wonder if they're going to hook Jodie up to that weird, remember the weird little like head thing that McGann had to wear with like the, in the movie towards the end? Imagine
I remember being a kid and being terrified by that scene.
Yeah. But yeah, I think for me that is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It's like, it's a logical one. I think the two most likely basic plots for me are the one, either the Master's going to manipulate Yaz into not liking the Doctor, or there's going to be something going on there, or it's going to be that, where the Master is using the Doctor's like regenerations to kind of heal himself, hence the older face, etc. Like, it's going to be one of those two, I think. Could be completely wrong, and it's going to be about flower arranging, but I think it's going to be one of those two.
Yes, and funny you mentioned that, because I want to ask you actually. I don't think that the shots of the Master in that teaser are chronological at all.
No.
I actually think the one of the sort of what word did you use to describe it?
Rasputin was
Rasputin. That style. I think that comes first, because what a mess everything was left in. And if that theory of the Master using the Doctor's regeneration energy to heal himself, that would make sense as to why he looks quite good in the next shot and Yaz is with him, and it just that would make a lot of sense to me. So I'm just wondering if you share that opinion.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I agree with that. Like, it's logical, but it makes complete sense. It's one of those things that makes complete sense narratively to happen. Like, we know that when Time Lords do regenerate, it does mend their sort of like physical appearance for a time. Like, obviously with the 10th Doctor, he does that thing, where he rubs off the scars and
oh yeah,
the face comes up, but he's gone. The same thing with 11 as well. He goes from being old to, when the regeneration process kicks in, he goes back to the default Matt Smith, how he looked throughout the rest of his run. So if that's the case, yeah, it makes sense why Sasha would look younger here. Yeah, I agree with that completely. It makes total sense. Something else I wanted to mention, someone has brought it up here, but I'm not going to read out their whole thing. What we see at the end of the Centenary trailer with Jodie being regenerating, in quotes, is actually the memories. I think this is fairly likely because I did a side-by-side comparison. This is very, sad for me. This is, even by my standards, but you look at the energy, in Future to the Doom, when she breaks open that lighthouse, the energy almost looks the same, but just slightly more yellow. So therefore, what if it's something to do with memories? Either she's getting memories taken out or put in against her will, because she's in that little, as I mentioned before, that little cryopod thing. So I think that's also likely. So those are the three. I know I just said that there were two. So that's the third one. The Doctor's forced to get their memories back. Again, all these ideas are so good. It's just like, are they too good?
Too good.
Yeah,
Too good.
I am in that position. Thank you all for watching this. If you did enjoy, subscribe to the channel as well. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in a bit.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
Bye-bye. Shout out to Debs Iona, Shane Smith, Ree Keffin, Seb Lowndes, Jay Monroe, Hash Shandycoot, Patrick Mewson, Simon Ashley, Steve Safaro, Andrew Townsend, Alex Robbins, Michael Dykes, Paul Bryden, Sam Yates, Michael Rhodes, Jerry the Meerkat, Heretic, Bibliotecaria Nerd, Cameron Jefferson, John M, Metahuvian, Ben Freeman. If you want to become a member, feel free to do so. It really helps out. You get exclusive posts, shout outs in every video, and even your own badge and custom emojis to use.